Hey y'all, if you want to learn how to make this letter pillow, then keep watching. So I'll be using 3 different fabrics. This is going to be my main fabric on the front and back. This is going to be for the sides of the letter, and this mesh fabric will go under the sequin fabric, like this. So the first thing I did was lay out my main fabric on the table. You can try and measure it out. I attempted to, but I didn't end up doing that. Instead, I decided to just cut out a J because I know what a J looks like. But I ended up making a mistake, so I would suggest actually drawing it out. Here's the mistake. So instead, what I decided to do was cut the top of the J off and just leave the bottom of the J. So after cutting out the front piece, I flipped it over on the opposite side and cut out the back piece. Now I'm measuring around the letter to see how long I need my side piece to be. I use that measurement for the mesh fabric and the sequin fabric. Here I'm just making sure that it is the same measurement all throughout. I think I ended up with more than I needed, but I much rather have more than less. This sequin fabric wasn't long enough for what I needed, so I use the mesh fabric as a guide to cut out the length of the correct length of the sequin fabric, and then I sew 2 pieces together. So now I'm going to sew the sides to the front of the J. And since I'm sewing 3 pieces of fabric together, I am using pins to make sure everything is in line with each other. When sewing 3 pieces of fabric together, make sure you take your time and check to see if all 3 pieces are being sewn together. This is how it should look. I ended up just cutting off that extra long piece. And now I'm going to sew these 2 sides together. It came out kind of funky, but that's all right. So now you're going to take the back of the J and sew that onto the side piece. is how it looks after I sewed the back of the J to the sides. Now I'm just turning it inside out so I can begin the stuffing process. And I went inside of the pillow and pushed out the corners. I really don't have a great method for this, so I'm just gonna do what I usually do, which is put the bag in the pillow and then break the bag up in the pillow. So once it's in there, my process was to pinch the bag so I can make holes all around it, and then just pull the plastic out. As I'm like pushing the foam down, I'm pulling the plastic out. This part was sort of tricky, but I figured it out. Now I'm just kind of moving the foam around in the actual pillow. So for the opening, I just hand sewed it shut. I didn't have any like special way of sewing this shut. I just kind of like sewed it the way I know how to sew. When sewing this shut, try to make sure that the foam isn't in the way, because that just makes everything much harder. I'm basically moving the foam around to make it look more like a J. And that's it. It's kind of lumpy, but I like it.